Welcome back to Prepper Talk Radio. This is our weekly live with Paris, Shane, and Scott in the house. And by special,
Bert Gummer.
Sorry, excuse me. And two special guests. Shane is doubling as Bert Gummer, and we have Paris's brother Garrett in the house with his infamous shirt. Don't hurt people and take their stuff.
Don't take their stuff.
And don't take their stuff. So do good. Be good, guys. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in this week. A couple of announcements. We want to get off the bandwagon of crazy in life. You need to get to the Be Prepared Expo this weekend. Guess who's going to be there? We're going to be there. We've got a booth number 202. So make sure you get yourself out to Farmington, Utah, to the Be Prepared Expo. Go to bepreparedexpo.com to get tickets discounted. Otherwise, at the door, they're just a couple dollars more.
Also, I don't envy Chris right now having to deal with the craziness getting ready for the show.
Oh. Real quick, if you're listening to it, by the time this goes live on a podcast, it'll have passed. But this is for the live people watching the live. That's one of the reasons why you get on the live, so you get the more updated info right away. But those watching the live, it's this weekend.
Well, what's crazy is it's just in a couple of days. I remember when I was doing PrepperCon,
you're freaking out at this point. You're freaking out.
I wasn't freaking out. It was just
you were freaking out, Scott.
It was 90-hour work week norm. The 2 to 3 weeks before the expo, and then at the expo at PrepperCon, it was literally go set up Thursday all day, don't sleep all night, go to the event all day Friday, don't sleep that night. All day Saturday, get everybody kicked out of the building by midnight on Saturday night, go to my hotel room and wake up sometime Monday. That was the first 2 years of PrepperCon. It was that insane. The third year of PrepperCon was the best, in my opinion, because I got to sleep Thursday night. I got to sleep most of Friday night, and then I slept like a baby Saturday night. I woke up Sunday at noon and was just like, oh, I'm alive. This is fantastic. And that's one Paris you got to come to.
Yeah.
It was glorious. That
was awesome.
It was so much fun. But the Be Prepared Expo is going to be an awesome event. There's a lot of cool things that are going to be there. A lot of cool groups. Our friends Casual Preppers are going to be there. They've got a booth. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see some cool stuff. There's some really cool first aid that's going to be there. There's courses. And of course, there's the whole booths for pews. There's going to be some overland vehicles. There's something for everything. So if you're a camper, a hiker, a backpacker, a prepper, a homesteader, you got to be there. Hands down.
Yep. If you want to listen to more, it's episode 267. We interview Chris and talk more about it. So go back and listen to that one.
Do you have these memorized, Paris, or do you have a list in front of you? All the episodes.
I wish I was cool enough to have them memorized, but
you're just prepared.
Well, if you're watching the video, you could see him pop over and look, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that's 2 episodes."
Oh, you got a list of all the shows in front of you.
You can see the screen pop on. All of a sudden, his face is all bright because he colorization monitor. He's smart.
Quiet.
Don't pay attention to the man behind the curtain.
You probably do want to go watch that episode because Chris talks about a special prize that he's giving away this year, which is really, really cool. So
he's giving a ton of prizes away, but yeah, that's going to be sweet. There's, are you talking about the land?
No, I was talking about the multiple things in one.
Oh, the ultimate setup. Yeah. And that's still being built. There's more stuff coming to it. So guys, make sure you're there. Make sure you're there all day. Doors open Friday at noon. And then Saturday, I think at 9 or 10 in the morning.
9.
So we're going to be there both days. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's a fantastic event to find and connect with other preppers. If I remember right, Utah Mike said he was going to be there. So for all of you fangirls out there and fanboys out there that want to meet Utah Mike, who's a common staple on Prepper Talk Radio Live, he said he was going to be there a couple weeks ago. So I'm hoping he's still going to be there. We'll see if he comments in the thread as I throw him under the bus. I guess you could say that he'll be there. Anyways,
you'll know if he's real or just an AI bot.
Comment. Right there you go. But we're excited. I think these events are the things, the glue that bring the community together. and they're fantastic. So I'm super stoked and would love to meet as many of you who can make it as possible. For those of you who can't, make sure you're checking out links in our bios to stay connected with our community, because we are online on Facebook. We also have links to deals. For example, he will be there, not AI. For example, if you want to get a deal on your emergency antibiotics, go to jacemedical.com, use the promo code PrepperTalk Radio, just PrepperTalk, and you'll get $10 off. If you want to go to learn about gold and silver, go to learn.itmtrading.com/PrepperTalk. We're everywhere, and we just want to help you get better prepared in all facets of life.
We're everywhere, but nowhere.
Yeah. We're everywhere.
We do not want to be found, everywhere. But we are putting ourselves out there to be found. Unfortunately,
we're doing everything as a prepper you shouldn't be doing. We're disclosing far too much. Why? Honestly, because God told us to. Because this is a way to help you get better prepared and feel more confident. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this. When we originally got approached, when it started out, Dick over at K-Talk was like, Scott, this was fantastic. They came in and sponsored part of PrepperCon. They were hugely involved there. They did like 80 interviews while they were there. They interviewed me twice. And they're like, you've got to come and do a radio show. And I'm like, no. He goes, no, you're fantastic at this. You explain it so well. People like you. I'm like, people don't like me. Come on. I don't have any friends. I have 2 friends and they're on the screen. And I'm like, I was super hesitant. And then he's like, come on, what would it take? And I'm like, well, maybe if I get Shane to do it with me. And he goes, go get Shane. So I called Shane, and Shane's like,
you kidding me? No way.
No. I'm like, come on. Well, maybe we could do it. And he's like what? Like how many times a week? Like, what are we talking about? And like somehow we both agreed to it. And here we are 6 years, 7 years later, 8 years later.
I did the same thing to you guys to start the podcast back up.
You drug us back in here. And still every week I'm like, I don't want to do this. But hey, I'm supposed to be here. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I'm here.
Right? It's like guilty as charged. So this week we are talking all about anything protection, security, self-defense.
But these things?
Anything but the guns. Why are we talking about this? Well, we love talking about the guns. And when I say we, there's exclamation point in there, and
Bert
that's
Gummer.
Shane
for
Bert. But we want to talk about other options, right? Like, for example, did you know that there is no law in the United States that I can find that makes it illegal for you to own a black powder cannon?
There's no law that says you can't make your own firearm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
That's huge. That's important. Why are we talking about this? Because you're going to have to get creative from time to time.
You just might, just might.
Like one of my favorite. It's tested and true. The easiest home solution to be notified of an intruder. Set up a bunch of cans behind every door and underneath every window, because when someone climbs in or sneaks in at night, they're going to knock that over.
Glass Christmas ornaments.
Yeah, I like to take the Home Alone approach myself. Yeah.
Yeah, glass. Yeah, because that's always fun to clean up later, and not as loud. FYI. But
cans.
If you've got a railing that you can tie some paint containers to, and a lead pipe too that you can use as a home defense mechanism, just like in Home Alone, you could do that as well. But like this, let's get into this. Like, what are some things you could do to better protect your home? You talk, Mike, Legos. If they're barefoot, that's great. If they're wearing shoes, that's not going to help, Mike.
Well, you got to set up the sticky tar, so they have to take their shoes and socks off, right?
Okay,
that's right.
True.
So then they're barefoot.
Then the Legos.
Kevin McAllister had it figured out.
Well, I want to mention really quickly, you said, Shane, what you said earlier about making your own guns. One of the things, if you listen to our last episode, we talked about how there was an experience in Bosnia where these guys had to live for a year without any outside things coming in. And one of the things that they said was the guns that were registered were the first guns that the military took.
Mhm.
And the guns that had been made by others or were not registered were the guns that you got to keep.
They were able to
And
use
so I'm not going to necessarily confirm nor deny, but it's important to have some guns that are what are called ghost guns.
Yeah, and that that the true ghost gun is the 80% lower of an AR or a pistol that you have to finish yourself and make into a firearm yourself, and that's truly what they call a ghost gun, which is a political, terminology, which is just bogus, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, you can still get 80% lowers, handguns and AR, so you can mail out yourself and make your own firearm.
And there's plenty of gunsmiths that can build the parts you need. And if
Yep.
you can take the time to learn to build stuff, that's even better.
Heck, become a gunsmith yourself.
Yeah, skill sets.
Well, and if you're like, okay, I'm completely opposed to the gun, below darts, bow and arrow.
Mhm.
Like, oh, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a PVC bow?
No, I have a couple of real bows.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I say that because I just saw a guy who his whole channel is around building cool things out of PVC.
Mm-hmm.
And he built a 70-pound draw weight bow out of PVC pipe.
Was it like 8 or 10 feet long, something like that?
It was about 5.5 feet tall.
Which is
But
a standard height for a longbow.
It was fantastic. And he's like, I can make these wicked accurate. He's like, it's not that hard. The thing that makes it accurate is the arrow. And he's like, I can do whatever I want with these things. He was making crossbows, which are illegal in most states. But you like when it's an apocalyptic scenario, if you know how to make any kind of tool, fantastic. Like, for example, litter your road with road spikes. If you know how to make them, it's not hard. Like, that'll keep people from coming up your road.
Yeah, I think having a bow is great because you can always remake the arrow, or you can go get the arrows.
Mhm.
So having a bow, that's one of the first things that I realized as I was trying to figure out my situation with protection, my family is like, okay, I can't go. I mean, I guess you can go get your bullets and remake the bullets with casings, but you've got to have something to regenerate because there's you blow through all your ammo, and now what? How do you protect your family? So having a bow is great, and then I have a handheld crossbow and I have a full blown hunting crossbow as well. And those are two aspects, two things that I have for protection that I think are important.
You know what? Now I need to get one, Parrish, because I do not own a crossbow. And since you have two, I need at least one.
Come on, bro.
So I need to step up my game and get myself a crossbow.
You're so much cooler than me in so many other areas. Can I just have this one area?
Okay, all right. I'll leave you alone. No,
Well,
sorry.
You can also have air rifles.
Yes, that was on my list as well.
And my dad and I used to play this game when I was a kid. We would do target practice with his nail guns. And we would actually rig up a little hook system that would pull the safety back. And we could hit a can of paint from about 25 feet.
Nice.
And there would be paint all over the garage. But you get creative. Like if you've got power to the compressor, there you go. That's a solution. You just got, as long as your cord is where you can go to protect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're popping nails off at somebody, they're not going to want to stick around very long.
Yeah, Mike just commented keychain alarm. Yeah, I just got a personal alarm for my youngest daughter. She likes to go ride her bike around, and recently we just had an attempted kidnapping down the street from the house, not but a half a block, maybe a block away. So,
wow,
important to think about those things.
If that's happening in your neighborhood, Shane, that's
exactly.
Yeah, that's way crazy.
Exactly. Yeah. So if it's happening in my neighborhood, it's happening in your neighborhood as well.
These are exciting.
Oh yeah.
These are exciting because this is a triple alarm system that I have. These are not shotguns shells. They look like shotgun shells, but they are dispensers of pepper blast powder and spray. So this I set up with this and a tripwire.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
If somebody comes walking through there, they're going to have a heck of a day. Let's just say that. Non-lethal, You can go check these out. Fithops, FITHOPS.com. The guy that created these used to come to PrepperCon all the time. He is fantastic. He's just a good guy. But I love these. I've played with the blanks that you can put in these. Gone camping with those, and they're loud. And he says it works great for bears, designed for grizzlies, works on tweakers.
Oh, so for putting put a perimeter up around your camp. Bear comes in, sets off the alarm, and hopefully scares the bear off. Yeah, that's
Even
what
comes in.
Yeah.
So
That
it's
is
part of my
important.
kit is some bear spray.
It is important to have something that's non-lethal, right? That reminds me, I've been meaning to get some pepper ball paintballs for my paintball gun. I've got some rubber paintball rounds for that non-lethal purpose, but yeah, a little blast of some pepper ball in there will deter someone pretty quickly.
Yeah, and you can get rubber balls for your 12 gauge as well.
Mm-hmm.
That's obviously gonna hurt a lot more. But don't know if I'm sold on the less lethal options, right? It doesn't always work. If that's all you have, you're probably in trouble, right?
Well, then it goes to the smoke and mirror options.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Make people think you're not there. Setting up a situation where you don't look like anyone's there, that there's nothing of value there, so that they move on. Now you can do that with, for example, FEMA tells you if there's a disaster, there's certain things you can spray paint on your door or near the entry of your door to let people know that there's been a death here, that no one's alive, or that there are survivors, that everyone's okay. There's different things.
The plague in here. There's the plague in here. Do not.
Right. And you can create situations where it looks like your house has already been looted and it's not a safe place to be. And you can still try to hunker down there for a prolonged period. But that only works if you have more people to help defend and more people to help secure the area. But making it less desirable is fantastic.
Another thing that I have in my preps is a baton. You know, I can't. I still need to. This is a handle. There we go.
There you go.
So it's a baton that's less lethal, and this could break bones.
Oh yeah.
And so one of the things that you got to think about, if you haven't practiced clearing your house, and Todd Nielsen at Nielsen Training has a whole course here in Spanish in Utah County in Utah, or wherever you are, take a course on clearing your house. Because one of the things that scared me to death, especially in my old house in California, was that the front door, where it was positioned in relationship to the room that my kids were in versus where I was in my room, if I came through and somebody was coming through the front door and I had to shoot, I would be shooting through, if I wasn't careful, I'd be shooting through the wall into my kid's bedroom. And you don't want to have that collateral damage of your own kid behind a wall. So be careful about wanting to be, so brave about having a gun in your home, because you don't want to have that collateral damage on the other side. You don't know where those bullets are going. You're responsible for every bullet that leaves your gun, and you don't want to be. If you can do something less lethal, it's going to be less lethal even if you miss. So it's important to have that in mind as well, I think.
Did I tell you guys a story of the 80-year-old lady that beat the crap out of a home invader?
Yeah, a couple. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna tell it again, just for those of you who are new to this. I want to say she was in Chicago or somewhere up in the Northeast. 80-year-old lady, sweet old grandma. This guy was like banging on her door trying to get in. She's calling the police. They're like, "We're on our way," and she's like, "Oh no, he's breaking in. We'll just try to hide or something." And she's like, "He's in." And then you hear on the other side of the phone, "Get out my house!" Whomp, whomp. And she starts beating this guy. And she beats him. And the police get there. And they're like, What? And she's like, "I'm a power lifter. I don't mess with anybody unless they want to get messed with." And he got messed with. And she's just like, "I just want to be left alone. Like, just let me be grandma." Like that. Her story is like phenomenally perfect for the situation. It's like, you need to learn how to take care of yourself, with or without weapons, with or without guns, with or without knives, with or without batons. You need to learn how to handle yourself, and you need to learn, I think more importantly than anything else, situational awareness. Put your cell phones away, walk with a purpose, keep your peripheral going, because the people who are targets are the ones who aren't paying attention.
There's a lot you can do with your hands or with a knife way before you have to go, Second Amendment. Way before that, there's so much that you can do. And the thing is that, yeah, everybody's excited about Second Amendment and using that kind of thing, but the reality is that once you discharge that weapon, not only do you have to deal with ramifications of the immediate scenario, but you've got a whole legal battle potentially that you don't want. That's going to it could wreck. There's people that in self-defense take care of business with their firearms, and then years later they're finally out of the legal battles and the money that it took to get involved with that. I mean, you want to join one of these organizations that helps you with legal stuff if you're going to be a carrier of firearms. But most folks, if you can take care of business with your hands or with something that's blunt, you're going to have a lot less, and you need to learn how to articulate why you did that. You need, when the police arrive or when the authorities arrive, you're going to have to be able to articulate why you felt like you needed to take action. But if you can do that with a less lethal situation, that's okay. And it's important to know how to say the right things.
Well, I would say when the police arrive, you don't articulate anything. You get your
You're
lawyer
not
involved. Don't
For
say
the
anything.
most-
Stay
for the
silent.
most
Remain
part.
silent.
Yeah, that's a good point.
There, for the most part, there's a guy that you all should know. His name is Masad Ayub. He's on the Wilson Combat Channel on YouTube, and he has the best advice. He's a former law enforcement, and he will tell you, yes, you need to talk to the police up front. You need to say these things, certain things, and then you say, okay, I'll talk to you with my attorney. So it isn't always the best to say nothing up front. And, that's what was my stance for a while until, I listened to Masad. So highly recommend Masad Ayub on YouTube.
That's a great
For
point.
those things.
And then in addition to all this, like we talk about different things you can use to protect yourself, things you can use to set up security for your home, things you can do in your car. Like there's a commercial years ago, everyone should have a trunk monkey, right? Great anti-theft deterrent. You guys remember that commercial?
Trunk monkey, I'm trying to remember.
I can't remember if it was Geico or somebody else, but basically the thief comes in, he breaks into the car, there's a monkey in the trunk, and he's like, whoo, whoo, pushes the back seats forward, climbs out, has a little club, hits the guy, knocks him out. Then he drags him around the car and throws him in the trunk. Trunk monkey, right?
I actually do remember that. Yeah.
That's not really feasible for most of us. It's not in the budget. Don't want to go through the paperwork to try to get your own chimpanzee. But here's the thing. Baseball bats are fantastic, but a baseball bat alone in your trunk is a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
Always include a ball and glove. Right?
Yep.
A crowbar alone is not a good idea. Include other tools. I'm not going to say why. But always think of the different scenarios that you're going to be in and what you can use around you that can be defensive deterrents. One of the best defensive deterrents there is what I like to call the brain connected to your mouth. And if you can effectively articulate a way for the situation to de-escalate, that is going to be a win-win for you.
Now, Scott, what do people do if they don't have brains? What should they do then?
They have other problems. They're
There's a lot
usually
of
the
people
people
out
without a
there.
trunk monkey.
They're considered the weak,
brains.
and they'll be weeded out very quickly.
Well, I look at this. Like I studied Krav Maga for a number of years, and they always drilled run away, escape and evade. Don't stay there and fight. And if you're forced to fight, 100% be the most aggressive person you can be, subdue and leave. Get them to where they're disoriented and then take off. Get out of there. The longer you're in that situation, the more trauma is likely to happen to your body, up into and including death. So don't stay if you don't have to. And if you can find a way to de-escalate a situation, hurrah, good job. That's why it's so great to be a gray man and to make your home a gray home so people don't look at it as a target and go, hey, we're going to come in here. Like, put the flashbangs outside, right? Put the cans on a string to trip lines and stuff to notify you so you can get out of the way if you need to.
Yeah, that's one thing that Stan Pruitt teaches is act fast and with force. that's if you can't evade. That's there you go, Scott, showing off there a little bit.
I love that.
I love the trunk monkey. So, okay, here's a little secret weapon that I have that I keep with me in my vehicle. It's called Clear Out. This is
Is that fart spray, dude? That's fart spray, isn't it?
Clear Out. It is riot control. It's basically
That's not a bad idea, actually.
fart spray. There.
Oh man, little fart
No,
bombs.
this is far worse. This is far worse than fart spray. So, and then having some smoke. Have some smoke that you can pop. But leave a smoke screen behind that you can escape. Just like the military does. They'll drop some smoke and escape or move positions.
Well, and it's like people underestimate the value of a good dog. Why is a dog a man's best friend? Well, not all dogs. Why is a good dog a man's best friend? They're loyal. They alert to things around you quickly. And if you've got your dog trained well, it will help protect you and your family. They're so willing to give up their life to protect their masters. It is extremely humbling when you have a dog like that.
And their instinct is to they can find the bad guy, or they can indicate on a bad guy. If there's someone who's a good person, they can usually tell, right? Someone who's a bad person, they can usually tell.
Who are dog people who are like, yeah, we can hang out if my dog likes you.
Yeah.
Have you heard people say that?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's phenomenal because it's like, yeah, if my dog likes you, I'll hang out with you. If my dog doesn't like you, then we know something's wrong. Like,
yep,
something's wrong with you. My dog doesn't like you. You're bad.
Yeah.
What makes you bad? Let's pause here. And I've actually, a long time ago, I dated a girl. She's like, if my dog doesn't like you, we won't date. And I was like, what? Her dog loved me, but we didn't date. I didn't like her as much as her dog liked me. And I liked her dog more than I liked her. Like, eventually that's where it was. And so it's like, you know what? It's not the right fit. But it's like, dogs are fantastic. Now, I haven't heard of a good guard cat yet.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, I don't own a lion or a tiger. So I don't know. I don't know if those are ever good options.
Probably not.
Yeah.
The liger. The liger is a good one, though.
Right? Half lion, half tiger. Those do exist. I've actually seen them in the Idaho Falls Zoo. They're huge, but they're also exceptionally lazy. Another fun one, going back on dogs, small dogs are great alarm systems, but not the best guards or deterrents.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have a dog that doesn't bark, you've got a problem.
It's a disposable alarm system, right?
Right.
You get you through one emergency, and then he's probably done for.
Well, it's funny because I actually, as a delivery guy, I was delivering just a few days ago, and I get up to the door, and I see there's a dog door there, and I'm like, ugh. So I set the package down, snap my picture, mark it off that it's been delivered, and I yell, Amazon delivery. I just outed out of myself. Delivery. And all of a sudden the dog's like, and goes off. And I hear the lady, oh, you are the most worthless dog I've ever owned. You had 500 feet of him walking to our house, and you bark now after he tells you we're here? You didn't hear him put the package down? She's like going off, and I'm like walking away. I'm just walking back to my van. And I'm just laughing the whole time because I could hear her all the way out to the street, still railing on her dog. Like, you are so useless. And yeah.
But I love you. I just love you.
Yeah.
But I remember as a kid, my dogs, I had a dog that was a complete mutt. He was part German Shepherd, part Golden Retriever, part Chow, and part St. Bernard. That dog he looked huge because he had so much fur. But at the end of the day, it was just the softest dog. Like, he was just chill. But he scared people off because of his size. Fantastic deterrent. And so it's good to have a good bluff.
You want to see my bluff?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude.
There's a nice bluff. And not so much a bluff, but it's a nice nice show off, right? I can
in some countries that's a lawnmower.
Exactly.
That's not a knife.
I've done that before.
That's a knife.
That's a knife.
Yours is a machete. Yours is more like a kukri machete
Yeah,
almost.
there we go. There we go.
So here's my K-Ba.
That's a knife.
Dang.
Good old military issue. This is a fun knife.
How about
This
this
is a
one?
sharp knife that I don't like to use very often because it's
Pocket-
too
pocket
big for
kukri.
most things.
Is that a pocket K-bar?
Pocket kukri.
Kukuri.
Pocket
Sorry,
kukri.
yeah.
Pocket
Yeah.
kukri.
That's a little pocket mayhem right there. Scares the crap out of people.
So
Especially when you pull it right out of your pocket and it comes out.
we talk about
Here's
concealed
another
carry.
fun one.
Well, there's concealed carry knives too, and this is one of my. It's a little smaller, but it's self-defense related. It's I conceal that on my belt next to my gun.
Nice.
So, you guys recognize this?
Mountain House. What is it?
Chili Mac.
Chili Mac, right? Just Mountain House. Now, I have home defense food storage.
Okay.
What does that mean?
Beans.
No. I have
That's where I thought you were going.
long
No, it's-
expired.
Yeah, I was
Food
gonna say,
store.
or you laced it with something. Maybe
Nothing has been laced.
it's just expired.
It is bad. And that is a food that we'll let the looters take.
Yeah, that's
like,
a
here, don't hurt
sacrificial,
us, take all
sacrificial
of our
food storage.
And that there's a strategic plan in that. Because then they'll get ill, they'll get constipated and want to die, and we'll be able to go on our merry way. But that is
that's good.
one of our intentional self-defense tactics for our home,
That's like a
Personal
trap
defense.
against the werewolf preppers.
right? I wish I had stuff laced. I'm just too cheap and lazy for that.
Maybe just get some pepper, cayenne pepper, or something, to lace it with that. But
There you go. Yeah.
A lot of
extra
cure a lot of
spicy.
their ales, but it might not kill them. You'd have to have a lot of cayenne pepper.
yeah, but it'll distract them when they process it a couple days later. They might.
Fire in the hole, literally.
Yeah.
No, I got another weapon that's Scott, dude.
God, I'm good with that.
It wasn't that funny, Scott.
I don't think Scott's coming back for a while. He's laughing so.
It's so good. What are you kidding?
You're too
me?
good at
Fire in the hole.
visualizing, Scott. No more visualizing, right?
Oh, that's awesome. You know, another thing that my brother just gave me this knife, and it's a knife that's not metallic. There's no metal in this one, and so it can pass through metal detectors. So number one, be aware that that's out there, because you might have somebody that went through one, and you got to be aware to protect yourself against others. But this is something that if you want to have it, what's it made of, Garrett?
There's two versions. One's ceramic, and the other is zirconium carbide.
And this one is a zirconium carbide.
Yep.
It's supposed to be a little stronger and sharper, but
Cool.
that's something that you can. The way that they put it together, it actually has a little bit of a lanyard. I can't really see it against my black shirt, but there's a lanyard you can put around your neck, and then hold it under your shirt and have it be concealed as well. Or you can get a little attachment and put it on your belt. But I think that's another way. If you're going somewhere where they don't allow, because there's metal detectors and they don't allow you to have any form of defense other than, you should have, I think you should have one of these in your arsenal,
In your kit.
your kit, to keep you safe in those types of areas and environments. Because you never know that criminals, every time you see a movie, somehow the criminal is able to get his gun through all the security and still take care of business. And so
They're crafty.
yeah, so you got to still have, if you're not going to take martial arts and become, a kung fu master, at least have some form of self-defense, like a weapon of like a knife or some other weapon like that.
When it comes to the TSA, they're inept, right? I think they've actually caught what was the percentage? Do you guys remember of the weapons they've actually caught that try to go through TSA? I think it's under 10%. It's extremely low, like maybe just a couple of percent of all weapons they try and get through TSA they catch. Just test cases, just firearms and all kinds of weapons. So they're very, very bad at that. So take your chances if you want to, but
zero terrorists.
yeah, exactly. Done zero good. Off topic, completely off topic. But Here's my next little piece of kit that I keep.
I
in
was
my
just about to
bag.
bring that up.
Nice.
Slingshots and wrist rockets. Those are so fantastic.
And
you
they're
can
fun,
actually
too.
rig up a wrist rocket with a whisker biscuit and a couple of zip ties. And you can use that as to shoot arrows.
Yeah, that's true.
I've done that, and it's pretty dang accurate. Take out small game. It's not like a full-size bow, but it's small, compact, easy to use. And you can fold away the whisker biscuit and shoot, launch rockets. Rockets, yes.
You can launch rockets too.
You can go to Korea, North Korea, be a rocket man. You can launch rocks, is what I was going to say, but rockets popped in. And I'm like, we all need a home defense rocket.
Hey, well, the rocks are a plethora too. You never run out of rocks.
Exactly.
I have a bunch of beads. I have a wrist rocket with a bunch of like pellet, like a metal beads that are the proper size for it, and that's nice. But when those go out, you want to
like steel bearings or
the steel bearings, yeah. So when you run out of those, it's still usable. You can grab
what
a
did
rock.
David take Goliath down with?
Rocks, yeah.
Okay, now here's the pop quiz question. How many rocks did he grab?
I think it was
Three.
3. Yeah.
Five. Sorry, 5.
5.
Dang
Why
it.
did we grab 5?
Because he had Goliath had 4 brothers, if I remember
Nailed it.
correctly.
Good job.
Yeah,
That's right.
and they were all 4 brothers were behind him, waiting to see what's up.
Well, 3 of them were there. The other one was off somewhere else, but he had them in case.
Mhm.
That should be the reason I bring that up. Is you can't just be like, hey, I've got a gun and a bullet, or I've got a wrist rocket and a rock. That is why it's so important to have backups. Backups. In the military, they say 1 is none and 2 is 1.
But
3 is just
enough.
right. 3 is enough.
Well, that's the show. That's a TV show, right? 3 is enough.
That's a TV show. And then Bert Gummer would say 45 ain't nearly close enough. Right? You've got to have more. But the thing is like he took down a giant with a rock out of a sling. And I've watched guys with slings who get highly proficient, and I would never in my life want to get hit with one of those, because you can kill somebody. You can also hurt somebody really bad and make them think twice about taking another step.
Yeah.
But it's just one of the many things you can use, one of the many things you can do. It's like, find what you like and learn it. Get proficient at it. If you want to go the pew-pew route, sweet. If you want to kick rocks, sweet. If you want to get a bow and some arrows, plant some roses.
I want to try
Long stem roses are fantastic for turning into arrows.
one of those atlatls. That would be
Get
awesome.
an atlatl. There you go. Matt Graham. Right? Other things you can do, you can start setting up snares and traps in your yard. We're not going to go into the deep depths of what you can do, but there's some that are absolutely illegal. But if it's an SHTF situation, your life's already on the line.
Yeah, booby traps in general are illegal, are against the law, and you will get in big trouble.
Download the maps and the systems and all the things you got to learn how to do them, and have those saved somewhere so you can practice and make them, but don't implement them until you absolutely have to. But you could do a million different things, is what I'm trying to say. And I want you to get creative with that.
Yeah, one thing I want to do and have been thinking about is getting something it's super inconspicuous as well, is having a staff that you can walk, like a walking staff that is reinforced and can double as a weapon or a bow staff. And then you can keep, and I think those are great. Well, especially if you're in hand-to-hand combat or somebody with not a gun, if they're coming after you, it's 6 or 7 feet. You can push them away. You can you can smack them with it, and you can keep them, at a distance. You can protect yourself in various ways with a bow staff. I think that's another weapon that you can use, and that would be good to have, because you can use it as a walking support staff too. If you need to hike out and get away from things, you can have that as something that's going to help keep you, from getting too tired.
Well, it's interesting. You guys follow the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at all?
Yeah,
I used to.
Yeah.
Okay. You probably noticed Donatello.
Confirm or deny.
Donatello has what as a weapon?
He has the size. Is that what he has?
He has a
Donatello's
bow
got
staff.
the stiff.
He has the bow staff.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Leonardo has what?
Swords.
2 swords.
Yeah.
Michelangelo,
He's got the size. Or what those?
Oh, the
the
nunchucks.
nunchucks.
right? And Raphael has the
The size.
size. Now, is a sai a sharp weapon or is it a blunt weapon?
It's
little
just
bit
a
of column
pointy
A,
weapon, I
column B,
think.
a little bit of both.
The way theirs are, they're blunt. They're unsharpened.
Mhm.
Okay, nunchucks blunt. Sword is the most deadly of those weapons, right? Which is interesting because it teaches the theology behind it, or theology, whatever. The wiki pages talk about how Leonardo had katanas because it had to force him to show restraint.
Interesting.
Leonardo was also the leader. Donatello was the smartest, and he loved to use technology, and so he was given a bow staff to show that even the bluntest, most rudimentary thing could be used in fantastic, phenomenal ways. Each of the things, the nunchucks, they all have different reasons why Splinter gave them those. A pair of nunchucks is notoriously difficult to control. And what's Michelangelo? He's the spaz,
Mm-hmm.
right?
It's a wild card. Yeah.
He's a wild card. So it's fantastic. Like, oh, well, that makes more sense now that I think about it. And the sai, those are defensive weapons. And Raphael is notoriously the fight picker out of the group. So it's really interesting that those were designed or given to them based on their personalities to help them be better than what they could have been.
The round
So if you had given Raphael the swords, he'd be in there, everybody be having a Foot Clan barbecue.
Yeah.
Like, it would have been bad. Why do I bring that up? It's like, you've got to find what works for you that helps you to be in more control. Better to be in more control than less.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to that, going to home defense, self-defense, going to, you can choose guns, you can choose a bow staff if you want. It all goes back. I always try to bring this back to God. Get in line with God, because there's a promise in the scriptures. And that promise is that no weapon forged against thee shall prosper. So go back and repent, spend some time with God. He will also teach you how to fortify. He will also teach you the best way to do things. I mean, take the worst boat builder in the world and he made an ark. What kind of experience did Noah have before he built that thing?
Nothing.
He never built an ark before.
So I'm holding this for a reason.
Okay,
Use the light, right? Use the light. This is a great defensive weapon if it's bright enough, right? And so, what is our greatest light?
God.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic
awesome.
point. Like, go back to the source, which is God, of truth and knowledge, and let him guide you in what ways you should be getting prepared. Because we all have different preferences of things we want to do and things that we think we should do. And sometimes that's not the right route. Sometimes that's not the right road. And he'll lead you down the right road.
It's important for us to take time to study and do our part, but there's so many experiences from the scriptures that there were people, God's people, that were attacked or they had to defend themselves, and in the moment they were taught or seemingly from the Holy Spirit how to defend themselves and how to. There's one particular scenario I remember. There were some kids that were in an army that they were young men and they didn't have any experience fighting. In fact, they didn't have any training fighting, yet they were able to defeat a trained army without any of them dying and any of them being killed. And that's like, that to me is proof that if you have the faith, appropriate faith, you can actually be guided and directed even in self-defense situations. If necessary, it really can be. What is your level of faith? What is your connection with that source of infinite knowledge and infinite wisdom to be able to have them guide and direct you and be smart enough to recognize the voice and know what to follow, what voice to follow, because you're familiar with it.
Yeah, I'm into that.
I'm trying to think of the there's a soldier. I can't remember if it was Leo Major or if it was the story about, was it Alvin York? No, Alvin York was the pacifist who in the Battle of the Bulge like rescued a ton of people, right? Wasn't it? Or is he the guy that like single-handed? Oh no, he is the guy that single-handedly captured 132 German soldiers, and they said he surrounded us.
Oh yeah.
What does that tell you? Like when you hear the stories about Alvin York, it talks about he was fast, he was agile, he was one of those people who'd never give up and never surrender. And so he kept moving and picking off their leaders, surrounding and running around and just being a hellion to scare the crap out of these guys. It goes back to make sure you're in good shape. Make sure you're taking care of the temple that God gave you, your body.
Mm-hmm.
Which goes back to what kind of food storage are you prepping? Are you going and buying the garbage year supply food from what's its warehouse that's selling out today? Or are you Ready Hour? I don't know. There's ones that aren't so good, and there's ones that are great. Can you learn to can your own foods? Our friend Sydney, the prep setter, teaches fantastic classes on that. How to preserve and can your own foods. Something you grow in your own garden. That's going to last you longer. It's going to give you more nutrients. It's going to be better for you. Make sure you're doing the things to help keep yourself healthy now and into SHTF scenarios. I can't focus on that enough because it's like there's so many of us who are eating crap diets now. I've like changed my diet and I'm losing weight every day. Sometimes it's an ounce, but I'm improving and I'm improving my longevity and my ability, my agility, and everything else because I'm trying to get to a position where I can protect my family better.
You know, the thing is that
big scary bulldog in the yard. I want to be an agile, scary bulldog.
Nice. The thing is that it's important to remember that nobody wants to have to fight. Nobody wants to have to take someone else out. I don't. I mean, there's might be some psychopaths that want to do that stuff, but the reality is that if we need to learn how to defend ourselves, especially our family. If we're parents of children, we need to learn how to defend them. And there's multiple ways to do it. If you want to, Second Amendment, we've been talking about the Second Amendment for a long time, and pew-pews, and we love those. But there's a lot of other things like blunt weapons, knives, all kinds of great things we've talked about today. So that's something it's important to learn how to defend yourself, whether it's martial arts or if it's a weapon you're going to handle and use. Learn some way to keep yourself from attack, because there's evil people out there that don't care, and they will come to take you and or your stuff. And if you don't know how to defend yourself, you're going to find yourself victim of violence, and that's not good.
Unless, like Kimberly talks about, sometimes God will tell you to sit still so he can fight the fight. But
there's a great example of that in the Old Testament when the Assyrians surround I think it's Hezekiah and the children of Israel, and literally they threaten them all day long. We're going to kill you. We're going to attack you tomorrow. We're going to take you out. And then God says, be still and watch. And they wake up the next morning, and the whole army, except for the chief captains, is dead because the angels took care of it. Elijah, same thing. There'd be more with us than with them.
Elijah's story is my favorite. What happens? His eyes are opened, and he's allowed to see all the angels that are just about to romp on these guys. And what did the angels do? They didn't really do anything. Everybody got to see him, and they got so scared they started fighting each other. Like, let the army destroy. The scriptures say in the end, the wicked will destroy the wicked. We just got to get aligned with God so we can get out of the way.
And was it Daniel who attacked their enemies uphill and chopped at their feet and their legs? Was that Daniel? The story I'm thinking of, Paris? Can you remember that? They were given so much strength and that they could attack their enemies from downhill. Obviously, uphill is where you have the advantage. They attacked from downhill, and they prevailed from the worst possible situation. So that's cool. Always possible. Yeah, and I love Jericho as well.
Yeah. Well, if you don't understand the uphill advantage, like the advantage of having the high ground, go watch Star Wars: The Battle Between Anakin and Obi-Wan. That's how Anakin becomes Darth Vader, is he loses his arms and like an arm and
Just
two
that high
legs in
ground.
that fight. Like the high ground, there's so many movies that talk about it. Military strategy talks about it. Like you have such an advantage unless the advantage really goes to whoever has God with them. If you can
That's
go
true.
with God, you're going to go a lot longer and a lot farther than you can go on your own. Now, I can testify to that all day long. He's taken my food storage when we've been at our lowest of lows. He's taken our food storage, our finances, and everything else much farther than I could have ever imagined to take them on my own. And he's done that. I've seen him do it for my parents. I've seen him do it for me. I've seen him do it for friends and family. I've seen him do it for Shane. We all will get to go through hard times in life. And I say we will get to.
Let's hope we all get to.
And those hard times are there to help make us more like him, our Father in heaven, more like him, our Savior, Jesus Christ. So all in all, you've got all these options to get and learn self-defense. Go do it. Go learn it. And then pray like heck that you don't have to use it. And get close with God, because, man, if he can bring angels to surround our enemies and let there be more with us than against us, and fulfill the promise that no weapon forged against us shall prosper, then you're going to be fine. It's not going to be easy, but you're going to be okay. Just keep that trust in God. Thank you for tuning in this week. Thanks for being part of the show. Remember, if you're trying to get better prepared, get to the Be Prepared Expo this weekend, June 2nd and 3rd in Farmington, Utah. Go to bepreparedexpo.com. If you're watching this later, sorry, it's past, but make sure you check out Jase Medical, JASE medical.com. Use the promo code PrepperTalk to save $10 off your emergency antibiotics. Have that stockpiled for every family member. And then make sure you go learn about gold and silver at itmtrading.com/Prepper Talk Radio. Guys, thanks for being part of the Prepper Talk family. Thanks for tuning in and not just tuning out. Thanks for trying to be better prepared and not scared. We'll catch you on the next episode.
See you next
Take
week.
care, guys.